What's up, family? Back with another dope episode of Who's Hot Exclusive. Yo, we got a dope one, man. Something that's never been seen before on 247liveculture.com. Something for the electronic fans out there. Something that is going to showcase a different genre to our community here, man. I got my man Yuni Wa out of Little Rock, Arkansas, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, G. It's good talking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And no, thank you for joining us, man. I think you're an interesting artist that is gonna be something that's beneficial for our fans because again, we've never had an electronic artist on here before. And I think even with the Black community, this is something that we're not truly exposed to in the ways that is like really mainstream. You know what I'm saying? Obviously our communities kind of focus on the hip hop and R&B space. So I'm interested to see how you dove into the electronica space and how house music became a thing for you, man. Let's talk about your journey, man. How did you get started in music?
I started in music when I was around like about 10 or 11 at pretty much a boys and girls club studio in my community that I've been going to. They built a studio. They allowed for kids. Pretty much they created a music program for all the kids. And I was one of the first ones that really got into get into that music program and be able to utilize, pretty much the resources they have, instruments, and they had a Mac computer that had Reason, Pro Tools, and so I would just get on. I would get on the computer. I probably actually every Friday afternoon after I'd leave school, I'd go to the Boys and Girls Club and I'd just go in there for hours and I just, what I'm saying, just would just make different types of stuff and then I'd take it, I'd burn it on the CD and I'd take it home. And that's really how it started for me. Um, but a lot of my background is I was in the choir growing up and I come from a pretty musical family also. So
Awesome. Awesome. Do you have any favorite instruments that you grew up playing?
let me think. I do like the bass guitar a lot. I do really like the bass guitar.
Yep. When is the when is the moment that you said, all right, electronica music is what I actually want to pursue or what I want to create?
Man, it was pretty early for me, I'd say. I mean, I'm 27 now, but I'd say as a teenager, I I was putting out these records, pretty much like at one point 6 records a year, like mixtapes of beats, and they caught on pretty early. And I liked how all the music felt, and I liked what it represented, and I also wanted to be kind of like one of the first Black people to come into the sphere and kind of rethink like what music can be, I guess. So it's like, yeah, I'd probably say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Electronica is a dope genre, man. It's like entrancing, when you listen to it. Do you have
Yeah,
any like musical artists that influence what you create?
absolutely. Um, now I'm inspired by so many different artists, and a lot of them being like like Jay Dilla and Madlib, and
Yeah.
but well, my big two or big three, and the more modern, more recently, it's like Flying Lotus. Big one right there. Of course, he's a LA resident. You know what I'm saying? He was a super impactful when it came to me like interacting with electronic music, and not to mention, he's one of the biggest Black electronic artists in the country.
Yeah.
And his connection with his with John Coltrane is pretty sure by he's John Coltrane's nephew by marriage, and his fusion of jazz and electronic music drew me in so hard. It was like, yo, like he's really creating his own thing
Right.
uh, with this sound. Like he's really redefining like what black music is, and I just love that. You know what I'm saying? Like Cosmogramma. Like when I came in contact with that album, I was never really the same. Like I was like, yo, this is amazing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like just absolute just madness. um, but outside of him, probably I love K Tronada. Love K Tronada. He's an absolute juggernaut in
Dope artist. Yep.
house music. Love his boiler room sets, like just how he DJs music, his own music, and the records he's put out over the years. And I'd say Daft Punk. You know, I'd say those three are the heaviest.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. Kate Tronada definitely has some dope sounds, man. And obviously, J Dill is a legend. So those are some dope musical influences, to take after, for sure. And I
Absolutely.
mean, you're very, very talented yourself, man. So, I know that you're trying to reach on a broader scale here. Do you see yourself be like performing at like major festivals, doing sets like that?
Absolutely. Actually, performed at my first major festival about a year ago. I
Okay.
played at the fest, met Sudan Archives. Shouts out her. She was super, super cool.
Yeah.
Great, great singer. She's great, just overall, just performer. And I had to say, going on after her was just like, yo, like that's a lot to follow up. But
Yeah.
it was called Format Fest. I played till a storm came and it shortened my set, but uh,
Wow.
packed out a place here called the Roadhouse at the Momentary, and it was pretty huge.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've done an electronica festival in New York called 100% Electronica at the Knockdown Center in Queens. That was a really pretty big thing for me, and
Yeah.
I've done a couple shows at Phoenix and L.A. at Catch One and St. Louis, and just scattered all throughout the country. So my whole thing is that I'm absolutely focused on bringing the sound as to many places as possible, whether it's clubs or festivals. I'm really just I'm down with whatever, but absolutely.
Absolutely. I know those places bring a lot of energy too, to your sets and stuff. So I know that has to be exciting, man. Um, so you also have a new project coming up called Yunism,
Yeah,
which is set to release. Go ahead and talk about that, man. How did you come up with the title for that? And what's the overall theme with your music for this one?
man, Unism is like of course my name's Yuni Wa, and I I've made music so long and I've always had a very specific type of like belief system when it comes to making music. That I guess I'm trying to present that and through the music, uh, just culturally. I really wanted to put out like a album that's like my beliefs, like in the song titles and the feelings and overall moods. Really wanted to like reach beyond what I've done in the past and do something new. And so this is something super new for me. And it's at the heart of it. It's pretty much just what's kept me here for all these years, you
Yeah.
know. So it's a lot of the music's house. A lot of it's very eccentric sounding, very like party, club type, stuff, and a lot of it's kind of very deep pop electronic music. It's very club, like nightclub type stuff, and at the root, it's one of the albums I've always wanted to create in terms of just, what I'm saying, making something that's just not too. It's serious because it's like, of course, my belief system, I take it seriously, but
Yeah.
it's still like fun. It felt fun to make. It still felt lively. It still felt like it had all the feeling there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sacrificing any feeling for seriousness.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool, like little middle area for me. And I really think people are going to like it.
Absolutely. I'm sure they will. When does it drop?
September 21st.
September 21st. Hey, y'all heard it here, man. Look out for the project, man. What's the best song on there that you can say right now?
Man, artifacts. Every time I played the joint artifacts, every time I played at a show, people are always like hitting me on Instagram after with a track ID, and they're just like, "Yo, what's that, man? Where can I listen to this?" And I'm just
Yeah,
like, "That's not even out."
right.
And but it's gonna be, you know. So I've
Yeah,
told a lot of people that have come in contact with that song, like said just wait on it. But yeah, from what it seems, it seems that Artifacts might be like the big song for the record.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, no, that's very dope, man. What type of obstacles have you had to come to overcome to create your music to keep your career going?
Oh man, of course, I've traveled a little bit, but being from Little Rock and being from Arkansas,
Right,
it's not the main genre here that really gets the most love.
right,
You really gotta just persevere because sometimes it gets hard to like be able to DJ or really put your stuff out there. You got to really think and reimagine how to meet people that will like the music. Uh, and just I'll just putting together shows here and you know um, creating the type of community that was pretty much kind of like the early electronic house community that existed in Chicago and Detroit and all the early places in the 90s when black people were really getting their hands on house and techno back in the day. It's very hard because those communities were so tightly knit and there were so many people that were bolstering such great creative ideas at one time. Um, I'm like kind of like there's tons of artists here that do various genres, but
yeah,
there's not that many electronic artists here in Arkansas.
for sure.
And so it's kind of hard, finding a space for yourself and finding a place of belonging. So you kind of got to create it, and determine what's good enough for you. So I would say that's absolutely been a thing for me in terms of like, you know, struggles. And also there's the struggles of like, I'm from a smaller place. So, I'm not always in front of booking agents. I'm not always in front of like label heads. I got to really like hustle just to be able to even uh, be in touch or even talk to these types of people. Like it was usually whenever I go to New York and LA, and um, that's another thing. It's huge because I don't think the greater music industry is really looking at the inner, the inner states in America, like as oh, these are where the next really centric music artists are coming from.
Right.
But absolutely, it's something here for sure, though.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that being like a blessing and a curse, being in Little Rock where that probably is not the biggest genre out there for sure. But at the
Exactly.
same time, like you said, you're creating your own lane there. So it's a lot of uncharted territory for electronic music. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's dope, man. What if you could see yourself in like 5 years from now, where would you like to see your career?
Man, when everybody asks me that, I'm just like touring as much as possible.
Yeah.
I just want to play as much as possible. Um, Anywhere. Like preferably I would love to see myself not only just playing around the country, but going to Europe, going to Asia, taking the sound everywhere, taking the word everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, collaborating with more artists and you know, bridging new ideas together and just staying innovative. To be real, I don't want to lessen on. I don't want to lessen my ability to make very forward thinking music. I want to keep focusing on that. I want to keep making the same forward thinking music I have been. And yeah, I really hope to God that 5 years from now I'm still doing all that and along with touring and making a better living for myself.
Do you want to tour overseas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. It seems like you could gain a large movement of people, especially with electronic music overseas.
Mhm.
That's pretty popular. So good luck to you. You know what I'm saying? And we're definitely looking forward to hearing the album, man. Have you had any, like as a black man, have you had any struggles, trying to convince your family or friends or people that are close to you that this is like your path, like that this is the way to go?
Absolutely, man. I've struggled to for the older family members I have. They're always like, it's like it's such a numbers game. It's so many people doing this.
Right.
What makes you different? And uh, I gotta say one thing. My dad actually came around for the first time and was one of the first people that really was like, you know, you seem like you really getting somewhere with this. Um, uh, I hope this works. I hope you make it. And that was a really big breakthrough for me, man. Like hearing my dad say that, I had a very somewhat, how you can have a very somewhat difficult relationship with your father.
Yeah.
Uh, I've had somewhat of a very off and on relationship with my father throughout the years, and hearing him say that kind of just really put things in perspective, how far I've come, and how much further I want to go.
Absolutely.
And uh, I kind of got closure when I heard him say that. It was like I didn't know he was the person I really needed to hear it from,
Right.
but absolutely, it's to get even just one family member to just be like, hey, you've really given a lot of time. You've probably put in 1,000 hours a couple years ago.
Right. Right. Right.
Uh, I hope this works. I hope you get it. You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
doesn't take much. I think when I was younger, it was one thing because I wasn't making as much money, but that was still making random money. And I was 16, 17. I was still having money. I would work jobs sometimes, but like I had music money even then. And they were kind of like, and over time, they saw me flying all across the country and they saw me buying stuff and they see I don't work a job. So, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
where are you getting this money from? And I'm like, music. So it's like
Yeah.
people tend to believe a little more when you kind of start, you start, helping out,
Right. Right. Right.
putting capital up. So like, yeah, like I think it's lightened up in the last couple of years for sure.
No, that's
But
big.
originally starting off, it wasn't too good.
Hey, that's huge to definitely hear from someone like your father that they believe in you, while you're chasing your or living your dreams, 'cause we're not chasing, but you're actually living. Our generation is so different from the previous generations because we have so many opportunities to create, in
Yeah,
that space, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's entertainment or music, and you know, it's a little difficult to kind of convince that generation that hey, this is actually working, you know what I'm saying, or this is actually something that's going to be profitable for me, down the line here. So like you said, sometimes you do got to produce some capital to show that hey, this is actually a real
this
thing.
this ain't
You
no
know what I'm
just pipe
saying?
dream. I'm really
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this.
I'm really doing this. You know what I'm saying? But nah, kudos to you, man. What advice would you give to any other up and coming musicians that are out here trying to live their dream just like yourself?
Man, I have a lot actually. So you know, persevere because it's a long game. Uh, don't be afraid to try new things and not follow trends, but purely try new things for the sake of it. Experimentation uh, births great ideas that uh, really drive the culture forward. I really do believe that the people that drive the culture forward are people that aren't afraid to not only experiment, but take the time to, as much as necessary, to put into their music, put into their craft, and not stray away from that goal at all, or compromise that goal, compromise artistic integrity.
Yeah.
I think artistic integrity is one of the most important aspects in music because that's what makes it you. That's what makes it your idea. And the music industry, of course, we know it's very, very capitalistic. Uh, you know, there's labels. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people that want to make money. There's a lot of establishments that want to make money. Um, but being able to love it and be able to appreciate it and understand what you want to do, regardless of all those things, is absolutely the most important thing possible. You know, uh, for you making authentic music. Um, so that's what I have to say.
For sure, for sure. No, that's definitely real, man. Authenticity with your art is definitely the way forward, especially for our community. You know, we need real artists, we need real stories to be told, we need real creativity to be on display. And
Exactly.
you know, that's what you're doing, is using your art and your gifts to influence the world in a major way. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just one person, two people, three people to thousands of people at shows that are listening to music, man. That's major. You know what I'm saying? Is there any artists that you have on your bill that you want to work with?
Man, it's gonna sound bold, but man, actually, there's a couple artists I want to work with. I'm gonna start with the one I've always wanted to work with for the last couple of years, Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
You know,
Yep.
uh, fucking amazing. He's like
Absolutely.
one of my favorite. Yeah, he's like one of my favorite rappers
Yeah.
outside of outside of Under 3000.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say Kendrick Lamar and that. Yeah, that's probably what I gotta say.
Yeah, and you get the Kendrick Lamar track, man. You on. You know what I'm saying? You know, that'd be dope. A dope mix of electronica with the Kendrick Lamar lyrics on there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I see that like K Tronada does a lot of that kind of crossover between his electronica and obviously hip hop as well and R&B. So I could see how that could definitely flow. So
Exactly.
hey, staying in long enough, you just never know. You know what I'm saying? Things hey, it
Yeah,
can happen. You know what
stuff tends to happen, just happen,
I'm
man.
saying? Right.
Um, and that's the amazing part about music. It's just like you never really know. You know, you never really know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely. Where what would you say has been like the most like the highlight of your career so far? Like what have you enjoyed as a memory?
The highlight of my career, uh, man, has come in this later half. My years, because I was making this music as a kid, but I
Yeah.
wasn't really going to do shows until I was probably about 18, 19. But the later half of my career goes back to the festivals, going across the country for the first time, getting outside of Arkansas. That's absolutely the high point.
Yeah.
Going to New York for the first time, going to LA was like culture shock for me. And being able to play LA and New York also were like these were goals that had been on my list for over 5 years.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm on Crenshaw about to play catch one.
Right.
And I'm just like, yeah, this is my second time out here. I did the first show I did was at the Resident in the art district. Uh, and I was just like, yo, like I'm really just coming back now. I'm just really keep it consistent, you know.
Yeah.
I was just like, I remember when I had like a hard time just even like being able to do something like this. It makes you smile because it's just like, damn, you really came a ways, you know,
Right.
and being able to appreciate that moment is absolutely a highlight for me because it's been hard, you know, and I appreciate every little moment that allows me to you know really keep the sparkle in my eye. You dig?
Yeah, for sure. This journey here is definitely full of ups and downs as a creative. So uh a lot of people see the end goals as like, oh, that's the end all to be all, but it really is these little moments along the journey that make this thing enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? Or,
Exactly.
definitely. So I definitely
Uh,
understand.
the small wins, I
Yeah.
like that, and I think when I was younger, my highlights were more. When I was younger, like I remember, I was like when I realized like just crossed over 10 million streams globally. Like I was like, yo, like people actually like what I do, you know?
Right, right, right.
And I remember, yeah, crossover 10 million was a big thing for me. I was just like, okay, so people are listening, you know? And that's that's what I was just like, you know what? Like, yeah, let me keep doing this and see where this how this works out.
For sure.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, no, that's very, very enlightening to your soul when you start seeing the people actually support your stuff. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
You know, where can people find you? Where can we find your music? Where can we listen to, and where can we follow you on social media?
You can follow me on social media at YUNIWA official, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know, mind my tweets. I get a little crazy on there off the haze. But
Yeah,
uh yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, YUNIWA, Yuni Wa. You know, I got a website, Yuni Wa Music. So if you want to check any possible coming dates, you can check my website, my song kick, all that. And we'll be in Phoenix. I'm pretty sure October 5th. That's like my next out of state show. So yeah,
absolutely. Hey, you guys heard it here, man. Tap in with my boy Yuni Wa, man. He's doing it big for the electronica community. New project coming up, and he's headed to Phoenix this fall. Tap in. You know what I'm saying? That's our episode of Who's Hot exclusive. Hey, thank you guys for joining in.